Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. As you guys may be familiar, I am still set to go to court tomorrow to defend myself in a lawsuit where I've been accused of harassing somebody we're going to call by the name of Jane Doe. A lot has happened since she's first made these accusations, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on right now, but the case was pushed from late November to December to February, basically to have a chance for what I'm going to call a come to Jesus moment. That's right. The Lord and Savior once in a while will show up and pull the veil off of your distorted view of reality and say, "No, child, you're heading in the wrong direction," and they'll move you in another direction. And we're wondering with bated breath if that's what's happening right now. Now, as you guys might know, I've been covering a paternity scandal turned hoax, fake paternity scandal, which is Clayton Echard, possibly the fifth victim of intimate fraud, as we're calling it, where somebody says they were pregnant or at least threatens they may get pregnant after being broken up with, uses that information. Now, I'm not saying every victim looks exactly the same, right? Clayton's was slightly different from Mike's, which was slightly different from Greg's and Andrew's and Matt's, but they all essentially involved the same thing: control. Now, with my case, the idea of controlling somebody else to, prevent truth from prevailing is, in my opinion, being done right now. Now, that control over me was seen in multiple ways by a temporary restraining order being sought by Jane Doe to me. Now, of course, in the country I live in, known as the United States of America, we have a thing called the First Amendment rights. And within that, I'm allowed to offer my opinion on things that I see go on, especially in a public setting. So when the judge saw what I was being accused of, and when the judge saw that the person seeking a temporary restraining order had never met me in real life, the judge denied that temporary restraining order. And this is what the judge had to say. "The allegations in the petition are conclusory and not specific as to date, time, message, and potentially involve core First Amendment concerns. Restricting potential protected speech without a hearing could constitute a prior restraint. A hearing will be necessary to ascertain if the communications are not protected, amount to harassment, cyberstalking, revenge porn, defamation, etc." So that hearing was pushed back, and there was plenty of moments where we thought it was going to possibly go to a trial. And guess what? It still could. As shown in my thumbnail, I had a flight yesterday that was a Delta flight from my new home in Tennessee to Los Angeles, where this court case is. I canceled that flight, which I initially booked, refundable tickets. They're more expensive to book refundable tickets, but if you have a hunch you're not going to go, you get all your money back. So I refunded that flight hours before it was set to take off on the hunch that today a deal would be struck. A lot of people online don't want me to take any stipulations from Jane Doe, but I have to remind people, it's a dangerous world out there in the court system. My court case set for tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. isn't a court case where Tom Cruise is the lead prosecutor and Samuel L. Jackson's. No, it's not this grand old thing. It's going to be like going to the DMV. I'm going to wait for my 10 minutes to present my evidence in front of a judge. Now, by the way, we have not received an iota of discovery from the person here, Jane Doe, who wanted this restraining order against me. That would be, here's information, Dave, that we're going to use to show why we need the restraining order, and then I would have a chance to respond. We haven't even seen any of that. Now, if I lived in Los Angeles still, and I could catch an Uber at 8:30 a.m. in the morning and show up, it's quite possible she would just dismiss this case altogether. It's also possible, maybe not likely, but it's also possible that she wins. Let's be honest. Given half-truths, quarter-truths even, a judge could look at me as some guy that maybe went too far. Now, do I believe that's the case? Not whatsoever. And if we do dismiss, I will show all of the evidence that shows I have not asked for anybody to come after her. Now, here's the problem. I believe in consequences, but I don't believe in anybody bullying her. I don't believe, look, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I don't think she learns her lesson here by people making her an actual victim or a martyr. I've always said, do not contact her. Do not contact anyone in her family. Do not write a bad review on her podcast. Just pretend like she doesn't exist. That's the way we need to treat this. You can champion Clayton or Greg or Matt or Andrew or Tony or there's no Tony. Tony, there's a new guy or whatever. Running out of names here. Mike, you can try to champion me. You can join my Patreon and be a part of my content if it provides you value. You can do all of those things. Oh, we just lost the camera. Oh boy. Oh, there it is. The camera's back. Looks like my camera's dying. We will not go down without a fight, folks. Switching cameras. I'm over here now. I don't care. We're going to make this video. So here's the situation. I've received opinions that might differ from what I'm going to do. Those opinions being, Dave, you shouldn't agree to any stipulations. She'll use those against you. She'll try to manipulate this. And it's like, to me, she can try to manipulate the situation regardless if she wins or loses this harassment suit. It's my belief this is her first time in this sort of arena, being it not family court, where a judge isn't going to have any sort of, desire to side with the victim in the off chance that, there is, in family court, there's a sort of a lean towards believing the victim, because you want to make sure that even though sometimes they don't have hard evidence, if they are afraid of an ex-boyfriend, they can have the knowledge that person's not going to harass them. Take Clayton Echard. In his injunction against harassment, which I don't think that technically counted as family court, he provided all the evidence as to why he needed an injunction against Jane Doe. And he won. He provided the fact she had dozens of numbers. He would block her. She'd create a new one. This weird Pepe Le Pew bullshit she had going on. This coyote, this Wile E. Coyote. We called it the other day, but it's totally true. It's all Looney Tunes to her. She doesn't care. It's all about who's chasing who. I don't want to play that game. I got other things going on in my life. I don't know if you guys know this. I'll be happy to share them with you. I have an award-winning podcast that was featured in Time Magazine. Award-winning, maybe not, but it was featured in Time Magazine, maybe a blurb. Washington Post, we were also featured. I just bought a home. I have a livelihood. I make content. Unlike her, I actually make podcasts every day. I find myself to be rather compelling if I were to pat myself on the back. And on stage, I find myself to be damn funny. And with my Patreon audience, I find myself to be a reliable friend, if not virtual companion, for those that work from home, for those that have enjoyed this quote-unquote Roman Empire of sorts as it's been. Those are the people that I've committed myself to. Now, as much as I don't want to suck my wife into this because she deserves the most shout-outs, but of course, I try to separate family life from business, but it's been a hell of a journey for her too. And do I need to fly to Los Angeles to go to a courthouse and leave my family right now during a very important time of our life where this case is probably going to get dismissed anyway? I don't think so. I am prepared to, at this point, if things go sideways and they don't go in the direction I believe they're going to go in the next few hours, I'm prepared to jump on a flight. I think Southwest has great flights right into LAX. I'm going to stay at the Regency right there. I got a good deal. They give you good breakfast. I'm going to get those fluffy waffles. I'm going to put a little whipped cream on it. I'm going to violate my no sugar fast I've been going on. Hasn't my skin looked great? And then I'm going to take an Uber pool. No, maybe I'll take an Uber. Maybe even an Uber Black straight into LA Superior Court and defend myself. And I just don't want to have to do that. So for those that say, well, but Dave, she's just going to continue to, that's going to happen either way. And the best thing we can do, which we have done, is show her that our platform, which is built around love, it's built around positivity, and it's built around a high-value audience that cares about truth, authenticity, And more so than anything else, loyalty. My audience has been so loyal, from donating to the GoFundMe to other donations and gifts that have come in, and your time spent hitting the like button an odd number of times, reminding us where we came from Bookshelf Dave to this beautiful home we have right now. That's the audience I'm loyal to, and I'd have to bet my name on it, they're loyal to me too. She'll never have that. She'll never have an audience, an army of people that really support what she's doing, because people, they sift through the bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit out there. We're sold on lies all the time between media and advertisements and this and that. When you can strike a relationship organically with your audience, you don't let go of that. And we're not going to let go of that. I almost pity her. I pity that she doesn't know what that feeling is. There's sort of this lab-grown victimization that I've called it, you know. Hey, I don't mind a lab-grown diamond, right? You can go in the lab and you can recreate all of the chemistry that makes the diamond. But we found our diamond, and we found our community through years of digging and mining for truth and for what works within our community, both with the YouTube and the podcast. She doesn't have that. And maybe it's a game to her to latch onto others. I'm not really sure. I don't really know all of the psychology of what the hell's going on. But I'll say this. I'm not bowing down. She's the one who sued me. So if she dismisses this, we'll take that as a victory lap, that we did nothing wrong. We'll continue to cover this story. We're going to continue to cover Clayton Echard's evidentiary hearing on February 27th. And we're going to continue to talk about all the injustices that happened. And hey, maybe we'll even get BetterHelp to sponsor us, and we can get all these victims maybe a group deal on some actual therapy. That's where I stand right now. I'm going to be giving you updates as they come in very shortly on the Patreon. In fact, I'm going to check it's about noon right now, Central Time. We just received information that has some changes of what they are requesting, what we're requesting, and we're going to figure this all out live in the moment. If you want to join me, you can go right now and check that out. Hey, maybe your membership will pay for my flight to LA today. We'll have to see how it all goes down. But I appreciate your support more than anything else. That is not something that will be dismissed, even if this court case may be.